Hi, my name is Marissa Montwit. My field of study is graphic communications. Graphic communications is the work of any form of a visual element used to communicate to an audience. The academic journal I chose to work with for this semester is titled Leonardo, and right here is a picture of an issue within that journal. Leonardo is digitally published on the MIT Press website 5 times per year, typically in the months of February, April, June, August, and October. The whole purpose of this journal is to provide information about the arts and technology field. Not only are the arts and technology a main focus, but architecture, economics, computer science, political science, history, international affairs, cognitive science, and game studies are all common topics as well. When I was skimming through different articles among the many journal issues, I found articles about painting, approaches to visual art, science technology advancements, computer images resolutions, 3D architecture, sound technologies, digital aesthetics, interactive art, and psychology in relation to art. For the writing conventions, there are 3 main audiences for the Leonardo Journal. It seems to be that most of the articles are structured for people in their 20s and up, people specific to the field of applied science and technology, and of course to artists. According to the information on JSTOR, Leonardo is the leading international journal for readers interested in the application of contemporary science and technology to the arts and music. For the journal's submission guidelines, I wrote down 8 main guidelines from the MIT Press website. These are, of course, a title, a table of contents, appendixes. The supplementary materials may be posted on the MIT Press website to coincide with an article. The illustrations, if any, should be high resolution. The lettering on illustrations and diagrams should look professional. Figure captions should be included with every illustration manuscript. And lastly, credit must always be given to the copyright holder or photographer. In my paper, there were writing conventions that I followed and ones that I didn't follow. The 6 categories for the writing conventions were focus, organization, development/support, research, rhetorical situation, and style. Of these 6 categories, I followed the conventions with focus, organization, development/support, style, and rhetorical situation. In the focus category, the articles within the journal all have narrow topics and stay on topic. They stick to their main claims. I did the same for my paper. In the organization category, the articles tend to be very well organized and most have subheadings. I used subheadings in my paper to organize it as well. For development/support, the articles used observations, research, illustrations, examples, and facts. Although I did not use all 5 of these, I did use research, examples, and facts to support my ideas. Under the style category, the sentence and paragraph lengths varied for each article, so I tried to do what flowed best for my topic. In the final category that I followed, rhetorical situation, the primary purpose of the articles are to provide information on the topic at hand, and that is exactly what I did in my paper. Moving on to the writing convention that I did not follow, which is research. The articles almost always had some sort of a visual that related to the topic. For my paper, I did not incorporate any images. Going on to the research side of things, I ended up not using all 6 of my sources from my annotated bibliography. The only 2 that I used were Interactive Aesthetics by Audrey Bennett and Contemporary Printmaking, Old Means and New, the work of Kelpra, Mara, Hendroy by Francia Turner. I chose to only use these because Bennett's article fit in very well with my section of graphic design in my paper. I was able to cite her to make my paper stronger because she talked about how graphic designers think about how the audience will perceive their work. I chose to use Turner's article because it focused on printmaking, which was another section in my paper. He mentioned a few different ways that printmaking was done, which allowed me to talk about the ways that he did mention. And down here are the other 4 sources that I ended up not using in my paper from my annotated bibliography: the advertising content, art design and gestalt theory, broadcasting and the visual arts, and then of course the dimensions of graphic design. During my later research, I found the article Teaching Photography as Art by Jason Francisco to be helpful, because he talked about how photography has become an art form that turns photographs into protagonists that tell a narrative. And now, these 3 sources were not included in my annotated bibliography. Another article I found is titled Americans and Advertising, 30 Years of Public Opinion by Stephen A. Grazer and Raymond A. Bauer, which I took advertising facts from to use in my advertising section to show that Americans actually agree with agencies that advertising helps our country. Lastly, I found another article that pertains to advertising titled Advertising and Change, Message, Mind, Medium, and More by D. Madigan. This article was useful for my paper because it described the general purpose of advertising on a simpler level that is easier for the average person to understand. The other unused sources from my annotated bibliography just did not fit well with what I was trying to convey, which is why I chose to use these different sources. For my paper, my thesis/main claim was that there are many different subfields of graphic communications specializing in their own forms and functions. Each of these subfields provides a necessary piece to the whole of graphic communications. Some of the various, more well-known subfields are advertisement, printmaking, graphic design, and photography. In general, the subfields that have created the entirety of graphic communications are a foundation in the interpretation of different forms of visual arts because they offer people a wide variety to explore. And now over here, I have an image of a graphic design piece by an artist. And this ketchup bottle one is an advertisement that says, "No one grows ketchup like Heinz." And down here is an image of a printmaking example. And then over here is a DSLR camera, a Nikon one, that photographers would use, or they would use a Canon, whatever floats their boat. In my paper, I explained the 4 subfields I just mentioned in depth in my paper and tied them all together at the end, saying that without them, graphic communications would not even exist. Our lives, our society, our world would be bland because we encounter all these different subfields and more on a daily basis, whether we realize it or not. In the future, I see graphic communications expanding even further because technology is growing every single day. I am excited to see what is in store for me in my career. Thank you for listening.